Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me again today. We have another big development from our neighboring country Botswana, and it is one that has a lot of people talking. Please make sure to watch until the end so you can see the sources of this news and try to verify for yourself. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit that button so you don't miss out on more updates like this. So, the latest news coming from Botswana paints a very troubling picture of their healthcare system. Reports indicate that hospitals in the country are facing a serious collapse, with medicine shortages becoming widespread and delayed surgeries leaving patients desperate. This has now pushed Botswana to turn to South Africa for help, as their hospitals simply cannot keep up with the demand. It is a reminder of how fragile healthcare systems in the region can be when resources run low or when planning and management do not go as expected. In many Botswana hospitals, patients are arriving and not finding the medication they need for treatment. For chronic illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, HIV, and cancer, this becomes a matter of life and death. Families are reportedly being forced to cross into South Africa to buy medicine or to get treatment in hospitals on our side of the border. South Africa, as always, is finding itself carrying the weight of regional healthcare struggles, something we've seen before with patients coming from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Lesotho when their systems are under strain. Delayed surgeries are another part of the crisis. Imagine waiting months or even years for a critical procedure, only to be told again and again that it has been postponed because there are no supplies or enough staff. Patients are being discharged without the treatment they urgently need, and many are left in limbo. That is why Botswana is now officially leaning on South Africa to provide backup, which means our hospitals could see an increase in patients crossing over. Now, the question many South Africans are asking is, can our healthcare system even handle this extra load? We know our hospitals are already under pressure, with long queues, shortages of their own, and staff stretched thin. This is where the concern comes in. While regional cooperation is necessary, and South Africa and Botswana have strong ties, it is also fair for South Africans to worry about whether we will be able to maintain quality care for citizens when the numbers of foreign patients continue to rise. To put this in perspective, Botswana has one of the smallest populations in Southern Africa, just over 2 million people. Yet, the cracks in their system are showing in such a way that thousands could soon seek medical refuge here. This points to a bigger regional issue of how African countries need to invest more in healthcare infrastructure and management to prevent collapse when there is pressure. Because when one system breaks down, the neighboring countries immediately feel it too. For South Africa, this is both a humanitarian and political challenge. On the one hand, we cannot just turn away people in medical need. On the other hand, we must consider the costs, the strain on resources, and how to balance the needs of our own citizens with the needs of those who come here. We saw just recently with Health Minister Ira Motsoaledi's remarks that no patient will be turned away regardless of papers, and that sets a very clear tone. But at the same time, it stirs debate among South Africans who are already frustrated with the state of public healthcare here at home. There are also reports that doctors in Botswana are frustrated, saying they cannot properly do their jobs without the tools, medicines, and basic equipment needed. Some are even leaving the country to work elsewhere, which makes the crisis worse. This is a cycle we've seen in many African countries. When doctors and nurses do not have the resources, they seek opportunities abroad, leaving the system even weaker. In South Africa, while our healthcare is not perfect, we do have more capacity than most of our neighbors. But let's be honest, it is not limitless. Every additional patient who comes in adds to the queues, increases waiting times, and takes up medication that is already running low. This is why people are debating whether government should step in with strict policies or agreements with Botswana to manage the flow of patients and ensure that costs are shared. The human side of this story cannot be ignored either. Imagine being a parent in Botswana with a sick child, knowing the local hospital cannot help. The only option left is to cross into South Africa, maybe into Mafeking or Rustenburg, and hope to get treatment there. These are the realities many families are facing right now, and it explains why Botswana has formally reached out for help. Looking at the bigger picture, this crisis is also a reminder of how interconnected our region is. If Botswana is struggling today, it could be another neighbor tomorrow. And when these issues pile up, South Africa often becomes the safety net for the region. It's a role that comes with costs, but also one that shows how central South Africa is to Southern Africa's stability. The reaction from the public is mixed. Some South Africans are sympathetic, saying no one chooses to fall sick, and that it is our duty to help where we can. Others, however, argue that our government should put South Africans first, especially when it comes to healthcare and resources that are already strained. This debate is not new, but this Botswana situation has brought it back into the spotlight in a big way. At the end of the day, this crisis highlights the urgent need for better healthcare planning across Southern Africa. Botswana will have to address the shortages, fix procurement issues, and ensure its people have access to care in their own country. For South Africa, the government will need to balance compassion with capacity, making sure that our hospitals do not collapse under the weight of regional crises. Now, before I wrap up, let me lighten the mood a bit. You know South Africans like to joke, right? Someone already said Botswana must have thought we are running a medical pick and pay, where you just come in, take what you need, and go. Another person joked that if Botswana keeps sending patients here, we might as well ask them to include a medical aid card in their passports. South Africans always know how to find humor, even in serious issues. So, let me hear what you think. Should South Africa step in fully to support Botswana's patients, or should we focus strictly on our citizens first? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more news like this. All images used are for illustration purposes only. News sources: Daily Maverick, News 24, Times Live, SABC News, Meji Online.